there, and welcome. My name is Joshua, and this is the ultimate guide to custom trees in Minecraft. The thing is, trees in Minecraft are pretty basic. I mean, look at these. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to improve your trees. Now, let's begin. To begin with, we're going to do palm trees. I think these are probably the easiest tree to do in Minecraft because you just do these two lines for the trunks, and I tend to go for one slightly taller than the other and remain slightly curved at the top. And then for the leaves, you just want to add sort of a bowl shape of 6 to 8, I guess, individual leaves. Obviously, you can't do like fully connected leaves like palm trees have. Now, make the shape fit with the tilt of your tree. One of your sides you're going to bring down the leaves a bit further, and then the other side you're going to make a bit flatter, as shown by the diagram. Next up, we have the pine tree, arguably the most versatile tree of them all. I mean, they go with pretty much every style. However, because pine trees have a lot of branches, these tend to be more time consuming than other trees. So to begin with, you're going to want to build your trunk out of this spruce wood. I'll actually mix in a bit of a catcher and tuff just to get a nice grey colour to it. And then you're going to need to work on the branches. Generally, you want to start wider at the bottom and they gradually narrow towards the top. You just sort of go around, got to kind of just feel where they need to go, but the most important is to make sure is they're not all straight because otherwise you just end up with like a cross-shaped tree if you look from the top. You need to try and include enough diagonal branches so it doesn't look odd. Now, once you've done the branches, you're going to need to add the leaves. And these ones, you're just going to cover the branches. There's not a lot to the leaves. And just hopefully it should make this cone shape that narrows towards the top and is widest at the bottom. For these, you can adjust how wide they are, how tall they are, how narrow the trunk is. And also you can change how high up you start the leaves from. So these are truly versatile trees. Now for the Minecraft classic, the oak tree. So this one we're going to start with a fairly wide trunk. We're going to pretty quickly branch it out to make a nice oak shape. We've got to make sure that we do look at this from all angles because it's really easy to get the branches to look good from one angle, but actually needs to be fully round and a 360 build because most trees you're going to want to be able to look at from different angles. Now for this one, the leaves are a bit more complicated than just covering branches, so you want to make sort of spheres of leaves to make a nice round bushy shape for a tree. Now we're going to keep going around this, and even where we might not have branches, we're still going to fill in the leaves. So we're going to end up with a fairly complete shape of a tree. Some people prefer to leave gaps in the leaves, and I definitely agree with that for some trees. But for oak trees, I find the solid leaves work a bit better. Now, there's an interesting thing that this tree exemplifies really well, and it's the fact that all trees are going to have some irregularities, and you want to make sure all your trees in your world are slightly different. But for oak trees, I prefer a nice, neat shape, and so sometimes you might end up with a bit that sticks out a bit further than the rest of it, like my one in here. And so you're probably just going to want to take a step back, look at it, and then just adjust your tree by maybe removing that section and making the branch a little bit shorter. So overall, your oak tree should end up with this nice round tree shape. Up next, we have the birch tree. And this is one that's really important for you to improve, and I personally think Minecraft birch trees are one of the ugliest ones in the game. However, these ones came out really nice and I think were my favourite. Now, we're obviously going to use the classic white colours of birch wood, and white's got some really nice shapy options, so you can also use the diorite walls, a bit of diorite into your trunk to mix it up, and then you've also got the new pale oak for small details like fences and fence gates. Now we're gonna use these pale oak fence some thin, narrow branches with the trunk generally just going straight up. And this is where it gets interesting because I'm now gonna copy and paste this over into the next one as well. Because we're gonna do one birch tree in, let's say, the spring or the summer with green leaves, and the other one's gonna be an autumn tree with orange leaves. So for the one with green leaves, we're just going to go around similar to this pine tree where we covered all the branches with the leaves. This one though, birch leaves work quite nicely, but you add in some highlights with the cat has got a similar pattern of leaves. It's a slightly lighter color, and then the azalea for the highlights. It's really nice light green color. Also making sure some of the branches are still visible because I personally think the white branches look really nice. Now we're going to move on to the orange tree. Now this one's quite a lot harder because there's no orange leaves in the game. And so because we're using solid blocks, we're going to leave more gaps. So this I used a wide range of orange blocks, including pumpkins, the orange concrete powder and wool. I also used some resin, and then there's some candles as well. Also got some glowberries and even some shroom lights, which means this tree will be lit up during the night. This one actually came out really nice by just adding a few sort of randomly around, leaving enough gaps to make sure they connect to the branches. Take a step back and seeing sort of does it fill the shape nice and does it look right? And just by doing this, I ended up with personally my favorite tree of them all. Now we're going to go for a more interesting one. This isn't one that's really in the game with a sapling from normal Minecraft, but these trees are really nice. It's the Weeping Willow. So we're going to start with the trunk that's got a nice curved shape with a few branches sticking out of this. This one you sort of just feel where the branches go and make sure it looks balanced, but this one's less important, that it's sort of a neat shape like the oak tree was. And now we're just going to add leaves hanging down, sort of place it on the branches and drag it down much lower and keep going for that all the way around. Now, I also added some interesting things in here. So you've got a lot of vines. I've also tried to include some glass panes and some candles to create a droopy look. Overall, I think this works really nicely and could be really nice, say, next to a river in your Minecraft world. Finally, we've got this cherry tree. This one's quite a nice one to add another pop of colour like our orange birch tree did. These ones are in the vanilla game, and so my original one I made quite small, but I realised actually if you only want a small one, the saplings work quite nicely. However, often you might want a bigger tree, and so this one we've used some dark oak wood, and you're going to sort of go up to a point and then branch out quite evenly, and then these branches you just go do similar to how we've done other ones, and then it's just a case of adding the cherry leaves hanging around it. This one's not too difficult, and if you want to be interested, you can add some other pink blocks, such as pink glazed terracotta, it's got a nice colour to it, and obviously feel free to add your own blocks. Now we're also going to add some pink petals on the floor around this because they help fit the sort of atmosphere and tone that cherry trees are usually nice to create. That's all the trees in this guide to custom trees. The main reason I'm stopping here is because I cannot think of any more trees to build. So if you think of one I should build, or if I forgot your favourite tree, then comment down below and I might make a part 2 to this video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Appreciate if you could show your support down below by letting me know your favourite tree. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!